This is Tim Organ. Welcome to the Rebels with a Root Cause podcast.
Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, I'm Dr. Ann Shippy, and I have a really incredible medical practice in Austin, Texas, where I get to practice medicine the way I want to practice it, not my own special way. And I'm so lucky because I have patients that actually want to do the deep investigation into their health and often see multiple generations at the same time. So see the children, the parents, and the grandparents, and have a lens into humanity and to human health that very few people get to have.
Wonderful. And so what is it? Do you have a specialty that you do, or are you more of a generalist?
So I have 3 areas. The biggest is environmental toxicity. So chronic, complex illness where people sit down and are like, okay, you're my last chance. If you can't get me better, I'm giving up. And then I have some people who are very focused on longevity and everything they can be doing to have the best health for the longest period of time. And then the area that I'm most excited about sharing about currently is how men and women can improve their fertility to have healthier babies.
Wonderful. It's so important these days. Since we've seen fertility rates drop. Yeah.
We are facing something super serious between the fertility crisis and our children's health crisis. It's very daunting for people right now thinking about starting or growing their families.
All right. So what is your rebel story?
Well, I kind of started out in my career in life very buttoned up. Like I was the best at doing engineering for IBM, climbing the corporate ladder. I was stand out for them, and I followed all the rules really, really well. So, reporting into the plant manager within 9 years. And I thought I was going to retire from IBM at some point. We talked about it as blue blood.
Yeah, that's a great company back in the day, right?
So good about being the perfect boss, the perfect engineer, like all the things. And then I got really sick. I went on vacation. I had pretty good health. Went on vacation, and all of a sudden I couldn't keep weight on my body. I did not feel good in my body, and I could hardly function, and went from doctor to doctor, kept given a lot of Band-Aids, but nothing that actually helped my body to heal, and really nothing that worked great for the Band-Aiding. So I took it into my own hands and started searching all the different things that I could at the time. It was before the internet, so it was a little harder than
There you go, way back.
It's way back. So read books, saw different types of practitioners, an acupuncturist, a nutritionist, an allergist who was doing really weird things. I still, even to this day, think that he was way outside of the box. He was so far out of his time. And I was able to piece together what I needed to do to get my body back and to feel really good again. And it so inspired me to actually go to medical school and do medicine differently. I knew I needed that traditional training to be able to have the building blocks that I wanted to do, but I had no idea what those things were. And I knew I wanted to do medicine differently. So major career change. I'd never taken a biology class.
Right.
But it all came together really quickly. So I knew I was on the right track. Within 9 months, I was in medical school.
Wow.
I accepted into medical school. And then I had gone through some infertility issues. So I didn't know if I was going to actually be able to have children. And fortunately, during medical school, I got pregnant and had a baby, and then also one during residency, again after having dealt with some infertility. So then when I finished residency, I had a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I was kind of tired. So I did what I didn't want to do, and I went into standard internal medicine, where within 2 minutes I knew what prescription I was going to write and what I was going to say to the patient and get them on their way as lovingly and caringly as I thought. But I was doing what.
And you didn't know any different, correct? Or did you have a sense that this was not the right path?
No, I knew it wasn't the right path, but I didn't have a path. There wasn't a path for me because I didn't have the bandwidth with a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old to go do another training, and functional medicine wasn't on the map yet.
Right.
And so fortunately, my body got sick again. I got a couple of autoimmune diseases, one called Sjogren's syndrome, where I couldn't wear my contacts anymore, and my mouth was so dry I couldn't have a conversation without gum or lozenge. And then I also had blood work that showed that I had antiphospholipid syndrome, which is a condition where it increases your risk for stroke and heart attack. So here I was up against the wall with my body once again. And the things in traditional medicine were not good Band-Aids, and they weren't going to solve the problem. So fortunately, that's when functional medicine started. It was 2 to 3 years into my practice. Functional medicine was on the map, so I could go start that training and have the tools in my toolbox to start to do medicine differently. And so within 6-9 months, I was already feeling so much better. And I started to see that my body could really heal once again, and that I started to have the tools in my toolbox to quit doing internal medicine solely and to open my own practice.
Wow.
And it was so early. It was almost 20 years ago.
Congratulations. Like, you jumped out quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I found this office space that you couldn't find. Like the drug reps could not track me down.
Very important.
You had to count driveways.
With their donuts, by the way.
Exactly. No more donuts.
No more donuts.
You had to count driveways and turn into what looked like a house, but actually was an office building in the back surrounded by trees that you couldn't see from the road from any direction. So I wasn't sure, like, were people going to actually come see me?
Yeah.
What were my peers going to think? You know, I already had a very well-respected internal medicine practice. I mean, within 6 months, I was very busy. Specialists were sending me their patients that were some of the hardest cases, the neurologists and cardiologists, pulmonologists. So it all went really well.
Yeah. So how did you get into the environmental toxins side of this?
Oh, okay. I'd gone to in addition to the functional medicine training, I had found Bill Ray's work on environmental toxicity that was just down the road from me. So I'm in Austin. He was teaching these courses in Dallas. So I'd gone to one of his courses. It's like, okay, this is stuff we didn't learn in medical school about heavy metals. And he had a little segment in his weekend workshop on toxic mold. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm missing this in my patients. There wasn't a whole lot on how to actually test for it or how to treat or anything to do with solving the problems, but it put it on my map. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I started realizing that I've been missing toxic mold and some other toxin effects in my patients. Well, since I'm such a kinesthetic learner, about 6 months later, I realized I was very, very sick. I had ALS-like symptoms. I had muscle fasciculations, severe pain in my body that it even hurt for my kids to hug me. And I had lost so much strength in my upper body that it was hard to hold a glass. So it really looked like I had ALS. I didn't have that formal diagnosis because that generally takes some time, but I realized that it was from toxic mold. And the things that I had found to start to work with patients, Richie Shoemaker's work, which has some amazing things about it. And he was really the first person to start talking about protocols and additional testing and things, but it unfortunately made me worse. Yep. And so I had to figure out how to treat environmental toxicity through learning what worked with my own body, which was great because then I really learned how to help patients and then started talking and helping other practitioners learn how to treat it as well.
That's so amazing because I look at mold. I didn't know before I was really invested in this, right? Almost 10 years ago. And I didn't know mold was that toxic, right? It was like this black mold thing like sitting over there. So I don't think that a lot of folks really understand the true toxicity of mold. But my bigger concern is that what is the traditional system doing to address these issues with mold? Are they just paving over and not even throwing it on the board?
No, they don't. And it starts with medical training. We're taught about acute toxicities where somebody might have been acutely exposed to like organophosphates or something and what happens to them, or an acute mercury poisoning. What doctors are not taught, and other health care practitioners generally not either, is that toxins, when we're exposed a little bit at a time, they accumulate in the body. So the symptoms look very different. So most physicians do not know that the toxins, the mycotoxins and VOCs that mold make, we breathe them in, right, and they are such small molecules, they go right into the bloodstream and then create a chronic illness from long-term exposure. What's so fascinating about the mycotoxins is that they're actually studied for things like immunosuppressants. Like a lot of people who have a transplant take a compound that is formulated based on mycophenolic acid, which is a mold toxin. So it suppresses the immune system dramatically. And then the other thing that mold has been studied for is actually biological warfare.
What?
Yeah. So these are some of the most toxic compounds that we can make. And everybody's like, oh, well, there's mold in the environment. It's not a problem. In the outdoor environment, these toxins just dissipate. In the closed indoor environment, they accumulate.
Frightening.
So I know you just went through
Yeah. Long story.
Run in.
Not good, but my fault for allowing the cold tub to sit in the house and not realize it wasn't leaking.
But the good news is, because of you being so open-minded and being part of this community, a lot of people just don't know. Like it's their doctor's not going to recommend it. And even in the building and professionals, the builders and remediators and all that kind of thing, they really don't understand that these chemicals are biohazards. Like you should have a hazmat suit on when you're handling these things because they can make you very, very sick.
Yep. Let's switch to fertility.
Yeah.
Because I know this is something near and dear to your heart, and also would love to know what it is you're doing versus what the traditional system is doing in their approach versus yours, right? And the type of success you're seeing, with the patients that you're working with.
Thank you so much for asking about this, because this is probably my biggest area of being a rebel, because I actually think that infertility is a blessing. It's when the body has gotten to the point where it's saying, we're not open for business. We cannot procreate safely. Mm-hmm. The problem is that there's this other range where you can get pregnant, but you shouldn't. And so what I have found in my practice is that when we actually work on how the body is, what the nutrient status is, what the inflammation status is, the toxin load, when we get to work on that 3, 6, 12 months before starting or growing your family, for both men and women, we can dramatically change the health of the baby. We can change fertility, even when things look very dire, and even at older ages. There's this idea about geriatric pregnancies being 35 and above. And I even had a 31-year-old being told she might have missed her window recently. I know.
31 years old?
I know.
Missed the window.
Exactly. No, this is the narrative that's happening.
Yep.
And women in their 30s and their partners are thinking that IVF is going to be their only option. Well, I'm here to say that with a little bit of effort, it is some effort for 3, 6, 12, even 18 months ahead of time, if you've got it, or if you make it, that you can be fertile well into your 40s. My oldest patient is pregnant right now at 47-year-old, first try, after putting 3 months of work in. I can't guarantee that for everyone. It's so heartwarming to me that we're built to procreate, and I don't think we should be bypassing Mother Nature and doing the procedural things for most reasons. There are a few reasons that I think, if you've got blocked tubes, let's do that. But for most reasons, let's figure out the root cause.
Yeah.
And really help your body to get into that balance where it's ready to create healthy life.
Yeah. So I'm sure you have some patients that have had children before, and now they are infertile, or they've been told they've been infertile. What have you been hearing from them, and why are they finding you? Like, are they running up against the system right now, and those doctors just aren't prepared to address the, number one, it takes a tremendous amount of time, right, to do what you're doing. That's not what they do, right? We know they may have 5 to 7 minutes with a patient, and that's it. So they're probably going to prescribe something to them, right, to help them become infertile or whatever it may be. Like, so walk us through that, what that looks like.
They don't have the tools on their toolbox.
So what do you mean by tools?
Yeah, so they don't have the systems biology way of thinking that we learn in functional medicine and other integrative approaches to even look at why the body isn't working properly. So the tools that they have in their toolbox are like, here's some Clomid, or here's IVF, or we can do an IUI. They're not helping you to look at the things that are actually going to change your physiology and change your biology and what your hormone levels are and this ability to procreate. So we need to be looking at things like toxin levels and the microbiome and the mitochondrial function. And most doctors just don't have the training to do that unless a lot of us have had the run-ins with our bodies ourselves. We had to go, heal ourselves.
Yeah.
Or they've just had an experience with family or friends where their minds get open to this whole other world out there and really to basics. Like,
that what it
Nutrition
is?
matters. Our
Right.
bodies run on nutrients. So
Yeah.
if we're not feeding ourselves a low inflammation, high nutrient diet, we're at risk for so many things. So what's been so fun in my practice is I get to work with people that are in crisis. Their quality of life is, heartbreaking often, to bring them into this realm of like really thinking about their longevity,
Yeah.
and then often into being able to conceive.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the seeds of like why I got so interested in this in the first place, is some people that were out of options, right? They'd failed IVF and were told to just adopt and give up, and then end up having 4 babies naturally that are super healthy in a short period of time, in advanced years, in late 30s and up to mid 40s. So I just want people to have hope that even if they're over here and they're struggling to survive, there's this alternate reality that they can create very healthy life.
Yeah. Well, this is all part of the change, as you know. Like the old model was traditional medicine basically breaks the patient, and the last resort is the functional medicine doctor, right? We're flipping that paradigm with a new health paradigm, right? That is what this is all about making functional medicine and the teachings of Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine and all those things that are so important, that have been around for hundreds and thousands of years, right? That to be able to start to make the body function in a way that it should, and not to hit it with toxins that completely destroy the mitochondria and the way the body is functioning. And it's unfortunate that's the model, but every story that we can get out there to basically let individuals know that there are options, and this is the option that they need to come to. They need to come to this side of health, because this is where the true healing happens. This is where the true longevity happens. It's not being done through a petrochemical pill.
We met about 10 years ago, and you just jumped into this world like in such a positive way. And it means so much how you are taking this on as part of your mission to really make a difference on the planet. You just articulated that so beautifully, and I can feel your heart in like, this truly is such an important mission for you. And it's just such an honor to get to be here with you on this mission.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it was 33 years of being in this world, this system, and seeing the atrocities, the corruption, profiting on us, right? Over and over and over. And this is a perfect segue to this, because we saw what happened in 2020. It was not good. And the world changed, and also the world opened up, and they started listening to there is another way. And I know that you were on the front lines of a lot of this and still dealing with a lot of what they refer to as long COVID. Mm-hmm. Can you address that and what that really means, and is there hope?
Long COVID is very treatable. The vaccine injured, it's very treatable. What has happened with these people is, between the stress and getting scraped from the inside out with spike protein, it's dysregulated their immune systems. And so it's actually kind of perfect, because I used to just see that when people were in really bad mold situations. So I had started learning how to help these people with this experience. So it's very treatable. Like when we really help the mitochondria repair, the immune system get back into balance, that alarm bell that was rung from such a vicious assault, really, every cell in the body getting such an assault, you can feel better than ever afterwards. And it can be a 3-6 month process of really helping the body to find the equilibrium again. But that was really what opened my eyes. Like, I knew medicine was broken. Until I saw that medications were not getting dispensed, that were well published by the Chinese, being effective to preventively and for treatment for COVID, and it wasn't allowed to be dispensed and in the hospitals, and that people were being disparaged from even considering treatments that were well documented to work. It really broke me. And my understanding of the negative influences. Like I had felt like it just kind of, we just got to this place where medicine's broken. And now I understand that it's very systemically broken. It's time to wake up.
Yes, it is.
And I think that's part of what's happening is people are waking up and understanding that their food and their environment really does matter, and their thinking and how they live their lives with what they prioritize and who they surround themselves with is just such a huge opportunity for true health. I came up with this analogy. Can I try this out?
Sure.
For my new book that's coming out.
The new book. Yeah, I wanted to dive into that. So, all right. So the new book, Preconception.
So in this space, we expect it as far as like how to have healthy babies and how to be fertile and how to care for our children. We expect our government and medical organizations to kind of set up the traffic flow, right? Like there's a red light here, there's an off ramp here, stop signs, four-way stop over here, like just what to expect. But what I see happening is it's a free-for-all. There's no traffic patterns on this. So from my perspective, men and women should have a red light, but they are barreling down the highway and they don't realize that there's a cross section also going, 60 miles an hour in the alternate direction. So when we look at the fertility crisis, 1 in 6 or 1 in 8, depending on where you're looking at it, the autism rates are 1 in 31 children nationwide. In the state of California, it's 1 in 12 boys. The mental health, the diabetes, the autoimmunity, the cancer in our children. It's frightening to think about being a grandparent or becoming a parent And
by the way, there's nothing more profitable than a sick child.
It's really up to us. We've got a free for all on this. Like there's no real guidance coming from the places that we expect. And so this has to be grassroots. This has to be us coming together and helping each other to really fix this problem.
Let's talk about the book.
Yeah, thank you.
So when is this due? Like, what is the book about? And when is it due to pub? Like, you got that all lined up?
It's coming out November 18th. It's called The Preconception.
Of this year, of 2025. Wow.
Yes, it's right here.
I love this. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is exciting.
Thank you so much.
It's called Preconception.
The Preconception.
The
Preconception Revolution.
Okay.
A science-backed path to your fertility and generational health. So it's everything I've seen over the last 20 years that help people, both men and women, to get their fertility improved. So it gets easier to get pregnant and to have healthier babies. So the men's sperm is like a time capsule. So stress levels, toxin levels, mitochondrial function, many things get marked on the sperm, on the DNA, so that the development is influenced, as well as the child's future health. And then even more for the mom, as far as the health of the baby during the prenatal period. So it's really exciting because it can really help men and women to go into this, starting to growing their family in a much different place so that they don't have to be so worried about these traffic patterns being so chaotic right now.
No need for IVF, correct?
I think IVF is not warranted in most situations. I think it's bypassing Mother Nature and that we should not do that. We need to help people get their fertility and their bodies ready. Naturally. And that would be for blocked tubes, that kind of thing. But we still want to have the body primed and ready for healthy babies.
This is so important because, as we talked earlier on the show, that these infertility rates are dropping all over the world, and what's working is not working anymore. And nor did it really ever work, right? Let's just be honest about that, because what we're seeing now is we're being bombarded by so many things that it's just not good enough anymore to throw more toxins in your body. Like, you got to get the toxins out, and to be able to get your body functioning again the way it was intended to do, right? And how, before all this was introduced to us, how easy it was for families to have children.
My grandmother had 9 children well into her mid-40s.
So I'm super excited about this book because this is really going to change the landscape of fertility. So congratulations.
It's a revolution.
It really is.
I start it. I want it to be where women don't get pregnant without taking a prenatal. I don't want men and women to get pregnant without having done this process.
Great. Great. Well, this is going to be so insightful to the readers. And how would they find your book?
The preconceptionrevolution.com. Amazon,
Wow.
It's on Barnes & Noble, it's everywhere. Ready to
go.
roll.
Well, we are super excited. I cannot wait for the launch, and we will have a lunch party once it's done, and we can celebrate the launch of this book. So, Dr. Ann Shippy, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Tim. And I'm so appreciative of your passion for changing the world.
Thank you. Thank you.